Hello, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of the LampLighters podcast. I'm Jalen Corver. With me today is Lauren Smith. Absent from us today is Zachary Hampton. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving to our listeners down in the US of A. That was a lot of rhyming. I didn't mean to do that. Get ready as we discuss the quarterway point of the NHL season, the slow start of certain Canadian teams, and round it up with any rumors we've heard out there. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Trash Zach episode of the LampLighters podcast. So, Lauren, quarterway through the season, kind of a good evaluation point as to seeing where teams are at, how they're performing. Any thoughts so far? What's going on?
Some teams have definitely been performing as you expected, but others, definitely not lived up to the expectations for this year. I mean, we can obviously think of a couple Canadian teams, but even, the Washington Capitals aren't what we expected from them. The Colorado Avalanche are shockingly good this year. Not great, but good.
Did not see that coming at all, but...
No,
you've definitely been watching a lot more, right?
Yeah, usually I'm either watching them or the Islanders if they have a game on. Fun team to watch. They had a good game last night against the Stars. They got a 3-0 win, getting Bernier a shutout. So, they've been a solid team, fun to watch, good offense.
Yeah, not too shabby for him. How's Nail Yakupov doing out in Colorado this season?
I think he's looked good. He had a goal last night, actually. It seems like he's finally finding his fit kind of with the Avs. It may just be a team that they're playing him kind of at the right position for himself, and he seems to be getting a bit of that touch back. He's had 7 goals and 3 assists so far this year, so it's about half a point pace, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, he probably definitely needed that getting out of that limelight out in Edmonton, being the first overall pick and having all that pressure on him, and going to a team. Half the time you forget that he was a first overall pick. I mean, not to knock the kid, but I mean, maybe take that pressure a little bit off of you. I'm sure other people forget sometimes that he's a first overall pick, so. Yeah, definitely get that pressure off and maybe succeed a little more.
Yeah, he seems to be clicking more with Colorado than he did even when he ended up in St. Louis. He's a healthy scratch quite a bit, all that, but he seems to be doing well and have found his fit in Colorado so far.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good for him. Happy for Nail Yakupov.
It's really good to see.
Keeping on the West, I mean, there's some other teams that, start off that are maybe performing a little higher than we thought, looking back at our predictions from the start of the year. Did anyone have predicted Vegas to be leading the Pacific at the quarterway point, the Thanksgiving mark?
No, it's shocking.
Yeah, did not see that one coming at all.
No, and they're winning enough that they... you almost have to start losing out of a playoff spot at this point. They would have to do incredibly horribly to end up out of a spot now.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good out there down in Nevada. Fun team to watch. Their Twitter is good, and you can't go wrong with their Twitter. And it's just something that's just gelling about the team. I don't know if for a ragtag team that's really never played together, they're sure seeming like a really close-knit team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of it is a bonding experience over the fact that, you have a group of guys who, you have a real chip on your shoulder and something to prove. I mean, they're all people who, some of them, their team traded in order to make sure that was the player selected.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's every one of those guys has something to prove, something that they want to make a point about. So, I think that's just, the reality of it is it's a group of guys who want to show that they deserve to be in the league, and, incredible what they've done, especially considering their goalie troubles.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. They're running still on a 4th-string goaltender. They have Subban back as a backup.
Which include the fact that he isn't starting indicates that I don't think he's fully healed yet, but you'd rather have partially healed Subban over Dylan Ferguson, who, quite frankly, was probably relieved to get to go back to the WHL. Dream or not, you're 19. I don't think you're ready to be playing at that level yet.
No, definitely not. Getting thrust in your first game against Edmonton Oilers.
McDavid, and a blowout loss.
Oh, good luck, kid. Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, once they get their top goalie and Fleury back, I mean, the sky's the limit for them. They can keep going up.
Yeah. Like in the last podcast, Dylan Ferguson is officially the first goalie from the 2017 draft to play an NHL game. He was taken in the 7th round.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, I mean, this may be his only ever NHL game, but he got an NHL game in.
That's true. That's true. He's got a shot. A lot of goaltenders and players, even in the 7th round, can say they haven't had. Got to play in the NHL.
Yeah.
Pretty sick experience for him. It begs the question what Vegas is going to do once all their goaltenders are healthy again. I'm not sure what their AHL situation is like, but has a guy like what's
Legacy?
Yeah,
Legacy.
Has he earned the shot to keep playing in the NHL? That's the question. I mean, he's looked good. He's leading the he has the most wins in Vegas history. It's the first season.
That's a great stat.
Fair enough.
Let me see what his actual save percentage is. Maxime Gasse. French last names. Never know actually how to say it. I mean, while he's had a decent number of wins, it looks like his save percentage is only an 8.73.
That's it? That seems really weird.
They're winning largely off of really good offense. That's Hockey DB. Let me double check the horrible NHL site.
Yeah, I'm loading that up now as we speak. I can get there. It's painful. Good old NHL. They finally upgrade their stats page, but it's not really upgrade. It's more of a downgrade.
Oh, everything about their site sucks to use.
Yeah, he is only at an 8.73 save percentage. Huh.
Yeah.
And goals against average of 3.51. 3.51. Kind of crazy.
So, I mean, I don't think that he's earned his stay up permanently yet, but I think he's definitely played his way into being very high on that list if someone goes down.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely looking at the stats now, you definitely wouldn't say he might not be an NHL starting goaltender, but give him some time to develop down in the AHL, and he might have that shot eventually one day.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the reality is just, even if Subban doesn't continue to play as well as he was, although they would have to waive Subban to send him down, I believe. So, yeah, they'd probably send Legasse down before Subban. And,
right. They claimed Subban off of waivers, right?
Yeah, claimed Subban off of waivers from Boston, leading to the Calvin Pickard trade.
Right.
Which is hilarious, given what happened after that.
They probably regret that a little bit now.
I mean, they're still number one in the Pacific, so...
Yes. A weak-ish Pacific, let's be honest here. But
oh, yeah.
Not the best teams in the Pacific this year.
Oh, not horribly. It's not horribly skewed. It's not quite as bad as the Eastern Conference can be, where the Detroit Red Wings, who are currently sitting third, are actually almost ninth in the division.
Or in the conference?
Yeah, in the conference, sorry.
Yes.
Because they have 23 points. And, ninth, because all the Metropolitan and then the 5th place Washington Capitals are all ahead of them. So essentially, the Atlantic has the top 2 teams kind of in the East, although
Mm-hmm.
Toronto's tied with Columbus. And then below that, not a lot.
Nope, not at all. Uh, Seeing Detroit there kind of surprises me. They've been playing well as of late. They've been putting up some highlight reel goals and winning some
Yeah.
big games. Maybe not to
Like,
Edmonton the other night, but they've
no.
definitely been winning some big games recently.
Yeah, Detroit, and also shocking, New Jersey.
Yeah,
Second in the Metropolitan. They're only 1 point behind both Toronto and Columbus.
hashtag Lumber.
So, yeah, pretty shocking to me.
It's good to see
Yeah.
them succeed, though.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
got a
it's
good
great to
young
see
guys.
that. I think they have is it Nolan Patrick. No, Nico Hischier.
Yeah,
Nolan
yeah,
Patrick's on the Flyers.
correct.
Yeah. There are too many teams right in that area.
Many teams all over there. Yes, they get confusing sometimes. Uh, yeah, and then third in that Metropolitan Division are your Islanders. There, I see.
Yep.
Pretty
Yeah, they
entertaining.
leapfrogged into that last night. Uh, Good to see, especially since they have a couple games in hand on the 2 teams behind them, and the Pens and the Caps. So hopefully they can maintain that. But I said no one believed me that they would do well this year. But I don't know. I stand behind my team. I think that the better they do this year, the more likely, although I still believe that John Tavares will resign, the better they do, I think that it really just increases the chance of him resigning.
Mm-hmm.
Because realistically, come free agency, I mean, everyone talks about him going to Montreal. Does he really want to go to a Montreal team who can't score, especially if Mark Bergevin is still your GM? Do you want to go to Montreal? And also, what are they going to do? Kick Pacioretty out of the captaincy?
Well,
Like,
maybe Pacioretty would be part of. I guess they'd sign him in free agency. But if someone wanted to
yeah.
trade for him, I wonder if Pacioretty would be part of the trade going back to the Islanders.
I don't know why the Islanders would want Pacioretty if you still have Tavares, and especially given the fact they're doing well this year, if they continue to do well, they don't trade Tavares.
That's true. That is very true. Did you see? I'm sure you saw his goal or his assist last night. Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh,
Such a good game. That's insane.
That guy is nuts. How he could protect the puck along the boards for that long, fall into the boards pretty much, still protect the puck, and then somehow get the puck across. Oh man, well that's like one of the plays of the year already right there. That is
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah.
How
Well,
that guy
and
does not get more recognition, I don't know. He is
it's
such a
because
good
he's on
player.
the Islanders and no one talks about the Islanders. Like really, that's it. Even when the Islanders are doing well, it's like, cute, it's the Islanders.
Oh, the Islanders, I'm low.
Yeah.
No,
No,
everybody.
I mean, I've seen him play in person, and he's so much fun to see play in person. Like, was it last year in the December game against St. Louis, Tavares had an awesome goal, which, like, you're just sitting there watching it, and you're like, can't believe that just happened. Like, I don't understand how you did that, but you did.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. He's pretty good. I remember even watching him back in like the World Juniors and stuff like that. How good he was for Team Canada. Unbelievable player, and yeah, definitely does not get the recognition he deserves. He could easily demand, if he hit free agency this year, which I don't think he will either. I think the Islanders will pay up and pay him at the end of the
Well,
day.
I don't think it's a question of the Islanders paying him. I think people are saying that it's, the Islanders aren't great, or all the arena stuff, which I question how much the arena stuff factors into it. I mean, I'm sure it does a bit, because there's instability, but I think either if they make the playoffs, I don't think he leaves. Either that or else if they get a deal figured out for that new arena. One of those things I think does have to happen, but I don't doubt that one of them will. Or both.
I think both will happen.
And the reality is, like, how often does a first overall pick sign away from their team.
Sign away, it doesn't happen very often.
Even trade away, but sign away.
The Oilers, other than the Oilers,
with the exception of the Oilers and, well, technically Pittsburgh.
Right.
With Fleury.
Yeah. Looking that up.
Realistically, I don't see him leaving the Islanders, but, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I think he sticks around. I think he's good for the Islanders over there.
Also, having mentioned the Oilers, super happy that the Islanders have had the Oilers as a trading partner over the last few years. You know, that the first trade where we sent Griffin Reinhart to the Oilers and got the pick from Matt Barzal, who's currently one of the leading rookie scorers in the NHL. On the awesome line with, who was it? Jordan Eberle. Yeah, that Barzal Eberle playing. Thank you so much, Edmonton Oilers. It's great.
And what do they have? What do the Oilers have to show for that? Just Strome? Just Strome.
Yeah, just Ryan Strome.
And the Islanders have who else yet? They got a second round pick, right? Out of that deal as well for Reinhart?
Probably. Let me check. I can't remember who they drafted in that round.
Yeah, they got a first and a second, I believe, which turned out to be Barzal and somebody else for Reinhart, who eventually got picked in the expansion draft. So, yeah, definitely
and I think it's still sitting down in the AHL.
Oof. Yeah, that trade didn't work out so well, did it?
Nope.
Do we want to talk about the Oilers now? We might as well talk about the Oilers. We've been holding well.
Yeah, might as well.
I mean, they won the other night, but man, I just don't know what is wrong with that team. It is tough to tell. It's a mixture of like everybody not getting along, and their goaltending not doing well, and their defense just being totally subpar. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that, when you talk about the fact that realistically their strong points, you want to build around McDavid, so you want fast, high-scoring forwards, and they would look great for fast, high-scoring forwards. Jordan Eberle and Taylor Hall.
Okay. Oh man, this just keeps getting better.
Like, the reality is, the players that would have made the Oilers better and would help them, they've traded away.
Yeah, it's a total head scratcher.
I love Ryan Strome, but Ryan Strome is not Jordan Eberle. He may be cheaper, but
yeah,
it's not like Jordan Eberle is expensive. He's $6 million for a top 6 player.
Yep. Yeah. But it is what it is. Oof. Man, and then like looking at the Duchesne trade from a couple weeks ago and like seeing what Edmonton got back for Taylor Hall, you have to think that maybe they could have got a little more seeing what Duchesne got. No?
Oh, I think absolutely they could have. But, I mean, if I'm a GM in the NHL, I'd be just blowing up Chiarelli's phone. Because he's proven that he likes 1-for-1 trades.
Mm-hmm.
And not getting great value in those 1-for-1 trades. And realistically, I think, didn't he become GM just in time to draft Connor McDavid?
Yeah, I think so.
So the reality is, his job is on the line at this point. He's built this team. You trade away Neil Yakupov. You trade away Taylor Hall. You trade away Jordan Eberle. You've drafted a decent number of the players on this team. Like, he has made this team. If this team fails, it's on him now.
Yeah, he definitely has to be held accountable for what happens with this team. A lot of the signings, a lot of the trades, have all been orchestrated by him.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Connor McDavid. You got Connor McDavid, and you didn't have to be the GM to lose into getting Connor McDavid.
No, it was basically gifted to you.
Like, the GM, I can't remember who's the GM before him, but, like, lost to that point, and was like, great, now I can draft Connor McDavid. Oh no, I don't have a job anymore.
Ooh.
Like, If you can't build a team around Connor McDavid, what are you doing as a GM?
That is a great question. I don't know. And then you get the head scratcher of signing Draisaitl to that amount of money, who hasn't performed well this year. I'm pretty sure Yakupov's had more points than Draisaitl had. No,
Draisaitl was also out for a while.
that is true. That is true. And I should look that up before I make a fool of myself and spout out false fact.
Also, I think I saw a report earlier today that McDavid lost like 5 to 10 pounds from being sick recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draisaitl has 6 goals, 11 assists this year. So Yakupov has more goals, but Draisaitl has
one more goal.
Yeah.
In 2 more games.
Correct.
I think that part of the reason why Draisaitl got that much money is because my guess is the Oilers didn't want the McDavid number getting leaked until they had Draisaitl locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that number leaked, Draisaitl went in and went, I want this much.
Right. If this guy's getting this much, then I deserve that much, right?
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, you know, they could develop it into being like your Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. I don't think Draisaitl is Evgeny Malkin, and if you consider them being that, well, I believe they said that the percentage that got put into McDavid and Draisaitl is pretty much exactly the same as when Crosby and Malkin signed.
Right, which is probably where he got his numbers from, right?
Yeah. I mean, the issue right now is I think that it also doesn't help. I believe the Oilers are playing him constantly on McDavid's wing.
Yes.
Which...
Or if he's not playing wing, I guess he's playing second line on Nugent Hopkins' wing. They're not utilizing him at center.
Which, I mean, if they start to utilize him at center, like, you can justify his price, because he should be your second line center.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, part of that is, like, his utilization is weird.
Yeah, they're definitely using him differently. I'm not sure what's going on up there. Then you hear rumors in the dressing room of a possible divide and fights, and not sure what's going on with that. That's definitely not good for the environment around the team.
No.
Could definitely be an indication as to why they've kind of gotten off to a slow start this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's that. I just think that everyone says, you know, outside of like your McDavid and your Draisaitl, everyone else is slow. It's like if you can get past, you know, Nugent's probably still pretty fast as well, but like you gotta look at that Lucic signing. That Lucic signing already looks bad.
That looked bad when he signed already.
It looked bad when he signed, but like now when you look at it, like that's brutal.
That's a big dead weight that you got to carry, almost literally.
And he's playing on the top line. You're telling me that Milan Lucic can keep up with Connor McDavid?
Yeah, it's a head scratcher for sure. I mean, I hope for some people's sake that they get better, but I know other people who are really cocky and talked up the Oilers real good, and it's like, I don't really care. They can keep it. But, I don't know. Should we get to our favorite part of the episode today? And
was it the Rick Sachs team when he's not around?
Yes. Classic pastime. Classic pastime. Whether it's ripping Zach when he's not around or it's ripping Zach's team when he's not around, it's always good time. Always good time.
Yeah, it's funny. Going into this year, I did like the Montreal Canadiens. Now I just really want to see them lose all the time.
We're so bad.
I think it's just, I don't know. I find enough Canadiens fans who are really cocky about their team, and right now I'm just like, I want to see you miss. Like, in a year where Carey Price has been mostly healthy, so you don't have that as an excuse. Like, he's out right now, but he's traveling with the team, so he should be back soon. even without that though,
Hmm.
like you've been getting decent numbers from is it Charlie Lindgren who's come in?
Yeah, yeah, he's handled most of the starts in Price's absence.
Yeah,
He's been doing all right.
he's at a 924 save percentage.
Yeah, that's pretty decent NHL numbers right there.
243 goals against average. Like
Hmm.
realistically, I mean, compared to what Price was sitting at for the year when he went off with injury, like Carey Price was not looking like Carey Price.
Oh no, he
And
hasn't been good all year. He's been almost human. Which, in a way, seeing that he's having an off year, it's probably a good thing that he's not going to the Olympics. Let's be honest. That would be kind of a choke there. But
well, we'd have Braden Holtby would start instead of Carey Price.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh man, have to go to Holtby instead. Oh man, what a bummer that would be. Hmm. Man, it's just they.
And now on to picking Antoniemi up off of waivers, which seems like an iffy. Like, I get the fact that Zach Fucali hasn't been performing that well in the AHL this year, but you know what? Maybe you give him a chance and he turns out good. And I think that would be better than your proven not an NHL goalie, Antoniemi.
And this year, especially with his awful,
He's had
awful
one
goal.
good game. He's being waived by 3 different teams. And it's not even the end of November. Like 2 months. 3 teams have waived this goalie.
Yet teams still take a chance on him, and then just nothing happens. Ugh.
No, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I mean, I don't think that Zach Fucali is going to develop well in their system. Like, I think that he's a player who has so much potential, but I think that's wasted being in Montreal.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the story of many of their good young players.
Oh yes. Yes, definitely.
Like, I'm happy that Sergachev got to go to Tampa. I think that he would never reach his full potential right now in Montreal.
At the rate, yeah, like you said, at the rate they're developing their young players, it definitely doesn't seem like the most opportune place to go.
Well, even their developed players, like, their management of Alex Galchenyuk has been horrible.
Oof, that's a bad name. I feel bad for the guy. He had such high potential, and it's just not going anywhere. I mean, yeah.
And it's not like he's not living up to that potential. Like, he's being good. And you bring in Jonathan Drouin, who's been proven to have attitude issues. Yeah, that makes sense. This year he hasn't. This is probably Galchenyuk's worst year, aside from last year when he got hurt. So I don't think you can count that. And missed 21 games. So last year he had 17 goals, 27 assists for 44 points in 61 games. And part of that is coming back from, a leg injury I think he had?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So, I mean, legs are worse to come back from than upper body. And then the year before, he had a 30-goal season.
Mm-hmm.
With 30 goals, 26 assists for 56 points.
That's decent numbers to throw up.
And if you look, you don't like the advanced stats that much, but if you look at his advanced stats, he's more of a first-line center than Jonathan Drouin is. Drouin really hasn't performed massively better last year than what Galchenyuk did. Drouin had 73 games, 21 goals, 32 assists for 53 points.
Comparable.
So in 11 more games.
Yeah, that's it's rough over there in Montreal. I mean, they're leading the league in shots per game at 36.3, but are only scoring on 6% of the shots. So you tend to believe that when shooting percentage goes up to about, I think it's what, 10? About 10%?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to go up eventually here. But is
Oh,
that because they're having a lot of perimeter shots and like easy shots? It's tough to say.
yeah. Well, because goal scoring has been an issue there for years. Like, what is it every year? Oh, there's no goal scoring in Montreal. Okay, let's get rid of Terry Ann, bring in a new coach. Oh, there's still no goal scoring in Montreal.
And then it's really strange because like even across the whole league this year, goal scoring is up. What, 12%, I believe?
Yeah, up hugely.
Yeah.
And they're not talking about the fact that, Montreal may be looking at having to just rebuild.
Rebuild.
And
Yeah.
do you want to do that with Mark Bergevin as your GM?
No, I think.
Because the reality is, the Habs, when you look at their team, 3 years ago, they shouldn't be here.
No, definitely not.
You had PK Subban, who, for as great as Shea Weber is, PK Subban is a more offensive defenseman. And on a team that can't score, maybe you want a defenseman who can score.
Yeah, don't trade away your top offensive defenseman when you
Or
can't.
hey, Sergachev. That'd be a great defensive prospect. Yeah, let's trade him away for Jonathan Drouin.
Who's unproven. He's a high pick and he has high potential, but he still just hasn't shown up in the NHL, really.
And if he doesn't like what you're doing, does Mark Bergevin have, the pull that Steve Yzerman does?
No.
Drouin went back because he couldn't outweight Yzerman.
Right.
So the reality is, it's you gave up a player who could help you because, Montreal's defensive core sucks. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest here. Yeah, they're not the best.
Outside Shea Weber, who do you have now?
It's a great question. I'm not even sure.
The current defensive pairings are Jeff Petrie and Carl Elsner, Joe Moreau and Jordy Ben, Brandon Davidson and Jakub Jarabek.
Oh, okay.
With Shea Weber being out with injury.
Oof. Yeah, that's not a good-looking decor right there. Side note, as we're talking about this, it just so happens that Montreal has made a trade, conveniently timing. They traded Torrey Mitchell to the LA Kings for a conditional 5th-round pick in 2018. So they're just trading away more people.
Yep.
Joined the Canadiens back in 2014-2015. Played 174 games with Montreal, so had 19 goals and only 18 assists.
Yeah.
So
career NHL numbers: 617 games played for 61 goals, 80 assists, 141 points.
So I don't know, maybe trading away a warm body up front, get some young guys from the farm up there, maybe. I don't know what they had up in Montreal for extra forwards right now, but look for sure to maybe add a forward from the farm team.
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to see what's going on with I don't know, Sherbak is definitely out because he's had knee surgery.
Right.
It's out for, I think it looks like at least another 2 or 3 weeks. Went under for surgery on the 30th of October. It's McCarron could be getting in if he isn't already.
Yeah.
But even Sherbak, that's weird that he, for a first-round pick, really hasn't seen any NHL time so far.
I forgot they had him, to be honest. He should be decent, maybe. Maybe he
Yeah, but I think, again, poor management.
They got to do something there. They have to do something. Look at all the cap room they have too. I think it's almost too late. I don't know if it's too late now to try and go out and get that big fish, but maybe
Well, but who's the big fish now?
there's yeah,
Who's left?
everybody's gone.
Like you're going, oh, John Tavares. I don't think John Tavares is actually on the market, especially not with where the Islanders are right now.
Right, he's not.
Because if the Islanders are looking at we can make the playoffs and do well, they're not trading John Tavares. Because that's what you do in order to get John Tavares to stay. And then the other big rumor is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Except I'm pretty sure that the Coyotes aren't trading away one of their best players.
He is a free agent at the end of the year, but I don't think he's on the block either. I think they'll look to re-sign him as well.
Yeah.
For sure. You have the cap room this year, just throwing it out there. It's kind of been rumored before. Would you look at maybe doing a deal with another struggling team in Alberta, that being Edmonton, for possibly like a Draisaitl, like trading away Carey Price? I don't know.
Well, but first, Carey Price would have to waive his no move.
That is true. But if he sees the writing on the wall that Montreal isn't going to be good for a few years, maybe you build around Draisaitl and trade away Carey Price.
Are the Oilers going to trade away Draisaitl right now? Like, you just signed him.
Yeah, but look at their goaltending and their defense. They need help on the back end there. Carey Price would definitely help that.
He would, but if they can't score, then that's not going to do a lot.
That's what you have Connor McDavid.
So they shut down Connor McDavid and then what?
And what, sorry?
Like if they shut down Connor McDavid, then all the team has to do is shut down Connor McDavid. If you can shut down the Oilers' first line, or even limit the Oilers' first line, they have no secondary scoring.
Yeah, there's not too many good players behind. I don't know. I was just throwing things out there. They can at least afford Draisaitl's cap hit this year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that would be where I was coming from with that, and you'd at least
be solving. Is Draisaitl really a player you want to build your team around, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he is. I think he's a good secondary piece, but
yeah, I don't know if he's one of those top guys that you'd want to get. Hey,
I think he's someone where, in tandem with a Connor McDavid, yes, but that's even the Jonathan Taves on his own. Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane as a duo, yeah, just Jonathan Taves. I think that's more iffy.
It's very fair. He's a good leader and all, Taves is, but
yeah,
he's not the best scorer. So, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. We can talk for days and days on how to fix Montreal and Edmonton, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
I think their first step is firing their GMs.
I think Montreal, yes. Edmonton, I'm not sure if firing Chiarelli is the right move as of right now.
I think they're where they are right now because he's made poor moves.
He's made poor moves, but he's also left them with not much to deal with. I don't know if that's to trade for. He doesn't have many great assets. But I don't know.
But anything he does have, you're still looking at the fact that GMs aren't going to be throwing you lifelines right now. They're throwing you anvils.
Oh yeah,
they are trying to sink you.
Especially after how Edmonton performed last year, right?
Yeah.
So.
Also, side note, at the start of the year, I listened to the Steve Dangle podcast, and Ron McLean said he didn't even think the Habs were a playoff contender.
Oh.
Looks like Ron McLean might be right.
Good prediction on him, I guess. Good prediction on him. Better than I did and Zach did, for sure. Both predicting.
We all picked Montreal.
And Edmonton doing well.
I picked the Ducks.
I should have gone. Oh, whatever. Well,
I don't think any of us are right now with our predictions.
yeah, I think we're pretty far off with
Although Tampa is shaping up great for my pick for them to be back in the Stanley Cup final.
they are doing so well down in Florida. They Vasilevsky's kept it up. They only have 3 regulation losses on the year so far.
Yep.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Kucherov and Stamkos keep playing well as their duo. 1-2 in league scoring still. Yeah,
Yep.
no, they're
They're
definitely a fun team to watch.
so. Other than that, any other big teams that we're looking at that are out right now? Just Rangers and Boston.
We've talked about the West or the East quite a bit. We haven't really talked about the Central and the West, like at all.
Minnesota's still out, and so is Chicago.
Chicago is still out as of right now as well. They're tied for the wild card spot. To be fair, they've played
Yeah, but they would.
one more game, but
Yeah, one more game, but also okay. So tied for that second wild card spot, you have San Jose, Colorado, Chicago, Minnesota, Anaheim, and Dallas.
all tied for that last playoff spot. Can
Okay,
you?
essentially everyone outside of the Oilers and Arizona are tied for a wild card spot.
That is ridiculous. How close that is. And then you look at like Vancouver is 2 points ahead for the first wild card spot. Calgary's tied with them with 25 points. Vegas and LA are only 2 points ahead of that yet. So really, the Pacific is still up for grabs, other than Edmonton and Arizona as of right now.
Oh, 100%.
The teams in the Central are a little more up. They're 5 points up. The top 3 teams on the team playing for the wild card.
Yeah.
But I mean
Yeah,
that.
Nashville has 28 points, so.
Yeah, that's definitely not insurmountable though. Colorado has a
No.
game on hand on them yet, and I'm sure they play each other a few more times this year. They can easily make up those 5 points.
Oh, yeah, and it's at the same time, like, no one's looks hugely far ahead on paper, with the exception of, like, Tampa.
I'd give St. Louis far ahead as
Tampa
well.
and St. Louis. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, your team has to, like, for Montreal to get in, they have to win that much and not go on a losing streak and hope another team starts doing poorly.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could
Even if
do.
you're only a few games behind, those games can be so hard to make up.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's rough. It'll be an interesting finish. I mean, the stat usually is that about 13 teams at U.S. Thanksgiving make the playoffs,
Yep.
but this year I think is the year that possibly bends a little bit. I think a few more teams possibly have that chance, especially in the West. I mean, with that many
The
teams
West, yeah.
close. I mean, you'd have to think Anaheim picks it up here in the second half. Everyone still doubts Vegas. You'd have to think that possibly they fall down a bit.
We're at over, yeah, we're at over a quarter of the way through the season for a decent number of these teams.
Right.
Like, I think Montreal is 28% through the season. Arizona is, let me see.
Oh wow.
Arizona is at 29% through their season.
They've played the most games in the NHL and have the least amount of points.
Yep. So the reality is, you're a quarter of the way through the season. Like, this is a pretty good sample size of what your season's going to look like.
But
I mean, if you take a test worth a quarter of your final mark, and you bomb that first quarter, or that first test, it's hard to bring that mark back up.
yes, that is true. But I mean, yeah, a little bit of hard work and string together some wins in a row, and against especially teams in your division or your conference, and you never know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I think.
It's not that hard to climb up, I don't think. I mean, in some ways, I mean, yeah, definitely. Other teams are always playing each other, and there's guaranteed points that teams are going to gain on you. But I think it's not insurmountable. As much as I hate to say it, Edmonton's definitely not out yet. String together a good 5-game win streak, and you're easily right back in it.
Edmonton's one of the few teams that far down that I can see really making a comeback from where they are right now.
If Talbot can find his way back, and they could find some secondary scoring, and their defense comes around, which is a lot. That's as I'm saying,
it's
oh man, their goaltending has to be miles better. Their forwards have to be miles better. Their defense has to be miles better. They just have to be miles better. But they still might have a chance. I don't know. Tough to say. That's what I love about hockey. It's so unpredictable. It's so much fun. We're in for a heck of a last 3 quarters of the season here yet.
Oh yeah, it's been a fun season so far, anyways.
Oh yes.
There are a few points where it gets frustrating when you look at some of the officiating, but on the whole, it's been a great season. And that Duchesne trade, who didn't love getting to see that?
Everything from Duchesne going off mid game, which never happens. That's so exciting to see, and then hearing the rumors of what the trade might be, and then seeing all this trade stuff happen. It's just, man, I love hockey. Hockey's so much fun. I could talk about it for hours. It's so good. Well, anything else we need to talk about standings wise? Have we covered pretty much everybody here, Lauren?
I think pretty much everyone. Winnipeg's doing really good this year.
Yeah, we can talk about them.
Finally, people are starting to doubt whether or not he could be the real starting goalie, and I think he's definitely proved it. And that Scheifele, Wheeler, Ehlers, those guys have been so good this year.
Liney's been kind of quiet, but he's still put up 11 goals already so far this year. You haven't heard much about him.
I think he was out hurt for a while or sick.
He's played 21 games. He's played all their games.
I thought I heard something about him being sick so far.
Maybe he was sick and wasn't playing up to full potential, but he's definitely played in all of Winnipeg's games so far. Scheifele's just been killing it this year again. And yeah, no, they're a fun team to watch. They're definitely up there for my favorite Canadian team. Did we talk about Vancouver at all? Have we talked about Vancouver?
No, we haven't.
Are they overachieving?
Sellis'
team. Look at Osa. The part he's been waiting for if he's listening the whole time. Shout out to Sellis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Vancouver's always such a weird team. I don't know. I never know what's going on with there, but Brock Bozer.
Oh man, he's been killing it the past couple of weeks too.
Current rookie scoring leader.
Yeah, that's pretty decent there. Yeah. Good for him.
So, that means he's probably gonna get traded away from Vancouver soon, but
You never know. No, he's been fun to watch. Definitely, he's one of the elite players right now, definitely.
Yeah, when was he drafted? Or what spot was he drafted at?
I'm looking up right now. Give me 2 seconds. Of course, it doesn't show up right away. Why? Coming up right here. First round, 23rd overall, sorry. In 2015.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely seems to be a pretty solid player for them so far. Seems to almost have come out of nowhere. I hadn't really heard much from him before. Your top 3 point leaders are Bozer in first. Is that how you say his last name?
That's a great question. That's why I'm letting you say it and I'm not saying it.
I don't watch Vancouver games. They haven't played the Islanders yet this year.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's happening.
Yeah, so your leading scorer so far is Bozer with 21 points. Behind him, Tied with 20 points are Clayton Keller from Arizona and Matt Barzal. Thanks, Edmonton.
It's Besser. Brock
Besser?
Besser.
Well, Brock Besser then.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And tied for top in goals with 11. He's tied with Clayton Keller. Behind that is Alex Kerfoot, who such a funny kid, considering the fact that, have you heard the story of him over in Sweden?
I don't believe I have, no. Why don't you tell me and the listeners at home?
So it was something about his phone wasn't working, so he went and went to an Apple store, left it there for them to fix, and decided to go get food somewhere, and of course doesn't speak Swedish. He's allergic to peanuts. And asks them if there's any peanuts in the food. They say no. And he eats it, and suddenly he starts to have a reaction to it. And so he is in Sweden, where he doesn't speak the language, and doesn't have a phone anymore to call anyone. I think they called him a cab, sent him to the emergency room. Throughout this, no one on his team knows, none of the train staff, nothing.
No.
Gets out of the hospital, goes, finds out, I think they said that they couldn't fix his phone, gets a new phone, and goes back to the hotel. And then played in the game the next day.
Wow.
He wrote a blog post on NHL.com about the whole experience. But it's hilarious, and you're like, so you just, it was just a language barrier issue with the waitress misunderstood, or there was a communication breakdown. And, there were nuts in the food, and he went into anaphylactic shock in Sweden, and got himself to the hospital, and just no one knew. None of his teammates knew.
That's nuts. Hot nuts. Ah. Oh, man. Good puns. I didn't good pun.
Great pickup for the Avs in this offseason. Getting him from, is it Harvard? Harvard.
Harvard, yeah. Yeah, he went to Harvard.
Obviously a smart kid to have graduated from Harvard, too.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. That's been playing good. Good to see good guys develop like that. Yeah, pretty much does it for the standings. Anything else you want to bring up? Rumors-wise, anything you hear? Any other topics?
I haven't really heard much aside from what we already covered.
I thought
I enjoyed seeing Montreal lose the other day to Ben Bishop in net, considering how high Zach is on Ben Bishop. I mean, I really enjoyed that. That was great to see.
Haven't we trashed Zach enough this episode? No.
Never.
No. The answer, no, definitely not.
Good for Kari Lehtinen, just had his kid.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's why he was. That's why he wasn't.
Yeah, that's why he left. Yeah, his daughter that was born.
Oh, okay.
But
that's good for him.
It's always good to hear that news in the middle of the season. Yeah.
One thing that kind of intrigues me a bit is the Flames waived Eddie Lack today, their backup goaltender. Kind of curious move. He wasn't performing the best, but kind of intrigued to see what potentially could happen, whether the Flames intend to call up a goaltender from their AHL team, or if they have a trade somewhere in the works. It was kind of interesting because Trey Living, their GM, was actually in Buffalo for 2 games this past week, scouting them for some reason. So, not sure what's going on with that. Buffalo's main goalie, of course, this year is Chad Johnson, so it's not like Trey Living should be scouting him at all. He had a full season to look at him last year. So
would he be looking at Leonard?
That's very possible. Other rumors include going away from goaltending, either Evander Kane or perhaps Sam Reinhart. But
Sam Reinhart would look good. I don't know that you really want an Evander Kane.
I've never been a fan of Evander Kane and his attitude. I don't think that would be a good thing for a
I think that's his off-ice stuff where I'm just like, do you really want that in your locker room?
Yeah,
Like,
he's decent on the ice, and he's been having a good season this year, but I don't
yeah.
want that anywhere near my dressing room. Reinhardt would
Well,
be okay.
especially the Flames are a pretty young team still, so it's not like you really want that being your veteran influence.
Right. Definitely not the best influence out there. Yeah, Reinhardt was interesting as a rumor, though, I kind of heard. If Buffalo's maybe looking at trading him. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. Maybe you look at trading two struggling stars for each other and perhaps Bennett plus for Reinhardt. That would be kind of
I
interesting.
don't know. It would be, but I don't know. Do you really? I mean, how much do you want something from Buffalo
Yeah, I don't know.
at this point?
Is-
Like, how is Buffalo still this bad?
That's a head scratcher, you know? That's a question I'd love answers.
Like, you have Jack Eichel.
And Reinhardt.
How is
And
Reinhardt, and how are you this bad still?
that's really weird. They should be so much better by now.
Although, again, I mean, I sent it to you and Zach, but your top three teams from the 2015 draft, where they drafted Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, and Dylan Strome, are currently the bottom three teams in the NHL.
Oof. Oof. Yeah, that's not a good stat. I don't like hearing that.
I mean, I expect it from the Oilers because it's the Oilers, and just...
You would think the other teams would eventually pick it up here.
Yeah, Arizona's management of Dylan Strome seems very weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's a player that I'd like to see moved from Arizona, because I think, I mean, part of it could be Arizona just has so many talented young forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot up the defensive way, aside from OEL. So, yeah, maybe they should look at, I don't know, moving the probably better Strome for something as far as defense goes.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I don't know. They've won, what, 3 in a row now?
Yeah. No, I think they lost last night.
Oh, yeah, they did. They lost last night to San Jose. But before that, they did a sweep of the Eastern Conference Canadian teams.
Good for them.
For them, indeed. And some wins on the board.
Especially against Montreal.
That's the best win, of course. That's our favorite.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of LampLighters podcast. With no Zach this week, we'll forgo the trivia shootout and any other extracurricular activities we do at the end of the episode. Lauren, anything you want to end off with here?
No, I think that's about everything.
No? Okay. Well, appreciate you listening. Like it, subscribe. Anything else you want to do, share the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for continued support. It's been greatly appreciated. It's been a lot of fun doing this whenever we have the time. And thanks to Lauren for covering for our butts whenever me and Zach are busy.
Every week.
Shh. Let's not talk about that. But no, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a good time. Well, on behalf of Lauren Smith and the absent Zach Hampton, I'm Jalen Corver. Have a good night. And Lauren?
Don't forget to light that lamp.
There we go. Thank you. Have a good night, y'all.